This is how you shower at Coachella.
To go to Coachella. Let's break it down. I want to start off by saying that this is what I was okay with paying. It might
on the ground at the festival this weekend, and we are going to dive into everything that is currently drama at the festival.
Let's talk about Coachella for a second. The place where you go to suffer in style, where you spend your entire year's worth of savings just to stand in line for 10 hours, dehydrated and hangry, watching influencers in designer boots act like they're living the dream. But here's the real kicker. Coachella is a trap. It's the Hunger Games of festivals, where only the strongest survive the ridiculous heat, the endless lines, and, of course, the overpriced everything. And in case you haven't been paying attention, the year is 2025. We're in a recession. Rent is higher than ever, people are moving back in with family members just to make ends meet, and gas prices are through the roof. So, why are people still flocking to the desert, paying more than a semester of community college tuition to suffer in the sun for 3 days? Because they think it's worth it. They think Coachella is where influencers, celebrities, and the cool crowd gather to create magical moments of connection. But let's be honest, you're just paying to stand in the middle of a dust bowl, hoping you get a glimpse of someone famous while fighting for your survival. Here's the hard truth. Coachella is an expensive reality check. Ticket prices for general admission start at $500 to $600. And yeah, on paper, it sounds like a deal. After all, you're getting access to A-list performances, high-end fit checks, and a chance to rub elbows with the glitterati. But hold up, $600 is the cost of seeing The Weeknd at a stadium tour, a tour he canceled and refunded everyone for. And let's talk about the food prices, shall we? You're dropping $15 on a soggy sandwich in the desert while trying to figure out how your life choices led to this. But here's the wild part. You're still there. You're still handing over your money, hoping that maybe, just maybe, the overpriced, underwhelming festival experience will be worth it. Spoiler alert, it's not. But that's the power of the Coachella myth. People line up to be part of something bigger, even if that something is overpriced, overrated, and definitely not worth the hype. It's like Instagram in its prime, once about photographers, now a platform where everything's transactional. The same goes for Coachella. Once the dream festival, now just another expensive marketing ploy. Yet we all fall for it, and you know what? It's hard to blame people. It's the allure of the experience, the fear of missing out, and maybe, just maybe, running into a celebrity or two. But I've got a message for anyone who's been there, done that, and still wants to complain about the tough times. You knew exactly what you were getting into. You signed up for it, so no complaints allowed. The reality is, Coachella has become a symbol of what's wrong with the culture today. It's not about the music anymore. It's about who you know, what you're wearing, and how many selfies you can take in the middle of the desert while sweating out all your savings. And at the end of the day, we all know it's just one big game of paying to suffer in style. You think you're just paying for a ticket, right? Wrong. That's just the starting point. Let's talk numbers. First, 2 wristbands for entry, around $1,100. That's already a chunk of change, but it doesn't stop there. Want to sleep? The cheapest way to stay is car camping, which will run you about $180 for 2 people across all 4 nights. That's $18 a night, basically cheaper than a Motel 6 in most places. But don't get too comfortable. Next up, getting there. For us, it was $28 in gas, but depending on where you're coming from, it could be more or less. Either way, that's a must-have expense. At this point, we're at $1,308 for 2 people. You've got your ticket, your place to sleep, and a way to get there. But now we hit the extras, the stuff you can't always avoid, unless you're living off granola bars and sleeping in the car, which, let's be real, nobody's doing at Coachella. Here's where things get interesting. If you're car camping, you need supplies, tent, cooler, blankets, the works. This is where things add up. For us, it was around $842. We're talking Amazon, Costco, Walmart, CVS, you name it. We had to buy food, supplies, and everything we could think of to survive the desert. Yes, you're buying a lot of stuff, but hey, at least it's mostly stuff you'll use again. That brings us to $2,150. Now, let's talk about where you can cut back. Or, if you're like us, where you just go ahead and splurge anyway. Festival purchases, food, merch, random stuff that catches your eye. We dropped about $544 on this. All optional, but we weren't about to starve or miss out on a cool hoodie. Add that to the total, and we're now at $2,694. But wait, there's more. You're going to Coachella. Of course, you need new clothes, right? Well, we spent about $595 on outfits. I know. It's not necessary, but I treat Coachella like school shopping. I'll wear everything again, so I'm okay with it. But honestly, you don't need to go as hard as these influencers with their over-the-top looks. Save yourself the trouble. Finally, nails. Yeah, we spent $100 on nails. We do our own nails year-round, but for Coachella, we splurged a little. So, after all this, what's the damage? A whopping $3,339 for 2 people, or $1,670 each. Now, let's talk VIP tickets. Those will run you at least $1,000 more. Yeah, you get to avoid the riffraff in the general section, but you're still paying $50 for a bottle of water. VIP might sound fancy, but let's be real, you're still getting ripped off, just with a better view of the overpriced mess. In the end, it's the same story every time. You're paying premium prices for a lesser experience. Coachella's like Disney in that way. Both make you feel like you're getting a magical experience, but at the end of the day, your wallet's lighter, and you're still questioning why you spent that much for a fleeting moment of cool. So, what's worse, Coachella or Disney? Honestly, I need to know. Real cost of Coachella, the part that nobody tells you about. Yeah, the ticket's expensive, but that's just the start. If you're flying in from anywhere not California, brace yourself. For you, it's not just the wristband, it's the flight, the hotel, the parking, the food, and don't forget the water bottle that costs more than your entire life savings. I get it. Maybe you live out of state and it's a huge stretch to even get there. But what if I told you that, for some, Coachella isn't just an expense, it's an investment in, well, looking good on Instagram? Wild, right? Back in 2009, Coachella launched an installment plan for tickets, and let's be real, we've all been there, financing our DoorDash orders like we're buying real estate. And guess what? 60% of attendees use that same payment plan now. That's more than half of the crowd choosing to stretch their payments over months, because who wants to pay it all up front when they can enjoy it now and worry about it later? And let's not forget, by the time you're done with your payments, you're probably paying an extra $41 in fees for the privilege. But hey, at least you get to post those number Coachella outfits while paying it off, right? Life's all about appearances after all. But what's it really like to be at Coachella? I mean, you've seen the influencer posts, the stories of luxury tents and perfectly curated looks. But let me tell you, if you've ever wondered what it's like to actually experience the magic, let's break it down. It's like your legs are being betrayed by the desert itself. You're not just tired, your legs deserve better. Crisscross applesauce? Please. You're wondering if there's a secret lounge area somewhere that doesn't involve hobbling around on sore feet for hours. Spoiler alert, there isn't. Then you've got the influencers. I'm talking about James Charles, the makeup mogul himself, who's been through his own controversies but always keeps it real. He dropped some serious truth bombs on TikTok about Coachella, calling out the fact that this year things were different. Sure, he's still putting on his glam for the gram, but he's over the over-the-top, overpriced chaos. He straight up deleted a video where he complained about all the changes at the festival because he realized you're not getting the full story from those polished influencer vlogs. You know the ones I mean? The ones that make Coachella look like an unattainable, flawless experience. Spoiler, it's not. It's a jungle of overpriced water bottles, ridiculous lines, and luxury that's just a band-aid over a very real, very expensive experience. And let's not forget the real deal of Coachella. Influencers aren't just there for fun. They're there on brand deals. Their ticket, paid for. Their security, paid for. The ride, paid for. In return, they create branded content that paints this glamorous picture of the festival. But for most of us, the picture's a little more real. So, before you start thinking about those shiny influencer posts and the perfect festival experience, remember, it's a whole different ballgame for them. They're getting paid to make Coachella look effortless, while the rest of us are just trying to survive a weekend in the desert. But hey, if you're planning to go, just know what you're signing up for. Coachella may look like an Instagram paradise, but behind those perfect photos is a price tag that's not just about the ticket. It's about everything else that comes with it. And at the end of the day, that magical Coachella experience is really just an expensive, sun-soaked game of survival. You'll pay a premium for a memory that may or may not live up to the hype. So, what's it all worth? That's for you to decide. But here's the kicker. Whether you're there for the culture, the music, or just the photos, it's still gonna cost you. Just remember, what you see on the gram isn't the whole story. Here's the truth. Coachella's VIP experience isn't what it used to be. The artist passes, which should guarantee you privacy, convenience, and safety, have become little more than a badge of frustration. James Charles, yes, the makeup mogul with millions, is living proof. Every year he shells out for these passes, which cost a small fortune. But let's be real. This year the perks just didn't live up to the price tag. Imagine paying top dollar for VIP access only to walk in and realize it's a free-for-all. That's exactly what happened to James this year. The artist section, where privacy and peace should be a given, became just another crowded pit of chaos. It's the equivalent of buying front row seats at a concert only to find out it's general admission. Everyone's in your space, and you're still paying for the privilege of being herded. Now, let's talk about the reality of being in the VIP section. James, who spends most of his time there for obvious reasons, hello, privacy, had to deal with his personal space being invaded time and time again. One night, a drunk girl runs up, grabs his face, and starts picking pearls off of him. Another night, while enjoying Charlie XCX, some guy gets way too close, grabbing his waist and trying to kiss him. Seriously, what's happening at this festival? This is not just uncomfortable, it's downright unsafe. You pay for an experience where you're supposed to feel secure and special, but instead, you're stuck dodging creeps and chaos. Here's the kicker. James didn't even take the sponsorships that could have made his experience easier. After the whole Sugar Bear hair fiasco, he opted to go solo, paying for his own passes and making sure his team could get in too. Why? Because even someone with a pocketbook deeper than most of us could imagine realized that the Coachella experience, once a symbol of exclusive luxury, is now just overpriced madness. It's not just about the money, it's about expectations. The whole point of VIP is to get that next level experience, but when you're paying for that access and still stuck in the same crowd, it feels like a ripoff. Coachella, for all its flashy appeal, seems to have lost touch with the very thing it was supposed to deliver, an escape from the chaos, not an invitation to join it. And I get it. Everyone loves the idea of Coachella. It's the dream, right? The music, the fashion, the influencers. But after all the hype, is it really worth it? For James, someone who could have had the world at his feet, it wasn't. He's starting to wonder if it's all just smoke and mirrors. Maybe it's not just Coachella. Maybe it's just the world getting more crowded, the experience getting less real, and the price tags climbing higher with every passing year. Something feels off, and I'm not sure anyone's saying it. So, if you're sitting at home, dreaming about Coachella, thinking it's the ultimate experience, just know the magic doesn't always match the price. For James and for many others, it was a letdown. You spend the money, you fight the crowds, and in the end, you're left wondering, is this the experience I actually paid for? If James Charles, a multi-millionaire, is feeling shortchanged at Coachella, what does that say about the average festival goer? You're paying all this money, yet what do you actually get? A headache, a sunburn, and some questionable Instagram photos. Definitely not the VIP experience you thought you'd signed up for. Coachella's evolution has been eye-opening. It's shifted from being a music festival to a status symbol, a place where you flex not by attending, but by enduring the chaos. And let's not forget, it's now $800 for a premium parking pass. $800. For parking, one guy on TikTok even had the audacity to joke that it wasn't just $400, it was $800. And he was just traumatized by it. Honestly, who can blame him? This isn't even the worst part. The real horror show begins the moment you get in line. Normally, you're stuck in traffic for 2 hours, right? Not this year. This time, it's 12 hours of your life you'll never get back. People are stuck in their cars, overheating, running out of gas, having to push their cars. I mean, imagine this. You haven't even stepped foot on the festival grounds yet, and you're already stuck in what can only be described as an apocalypse-level parking lot. No porta potties. People peeing behind bushes, waiting for a bathroom that's nowhere in sight. The worst part? The organizers haven't even addressed the chaos. No word on what went wrong. No promises of fixing it. Coachella 2025 was quickly becoming a nightmare straight out of a dystopian movie. And it wasn't just the parking. Oh no. It was the wait, the heat exhaustion, the dehydration. TanaCon, anyone? At least with TanaCon, we knew it was going to be a disaster. This was a full-on surprise train wreck. And don't even get me started on the showers. The lines are so long, you'd think you were in a Hunger Games-style competition for a clean body. And when you do finally get a chance to relieve yourself, well, good luck. The lines for bathrooms were insane. Many were forced to find alternate spots, behind bushes, in the middle of nowhere, because the facilities just couldn't handle the crowd. It's a stark contrast to what it used to be. Coachella was a place for the elite to escape the everyday grind, to indulge in music, style, and luxury. Now, it's just a giant test of endurance. And for what? To say you survived the festival of broken dreams? So, what does all this say? If even the VIPs are being treated like cattle, what about the rest of us? All this hype, all these costs, and for what? If Coachella 2025 is any indication, it's becoming less about the music and more about how much pain you're willing to tolerate for a taste of fame. Camping in the desert is already tough enough. Now imagine praying the person next to you isn't squatting behind a bush, taking a, well, you know. And if you need to go in the middle of the night, forget it. You're on full survival mode at that point. One hand on a flashlight, the other clutching whatever wet wipes you've got on you. I don't even use dude wipes, but you get the picture. You're just trying to survive. And the snakes, let's talk about those. I saw the videos. Real snakes slithering through the campgrounds. Are we at a festival or filming a National Geographic documentary? Absolutely terrifying. Not a glam moment for the normies. Now, let's talk food. You've been stuck in traffic for hours, half a day at least, just to pay $20 for a lemonade that's 90% ice and $100 for tacos that are, well, let's say mid. One TikTok had a girl sharing that her meal came out to $102 for tacos and lemonade. You might as well open a savings account because you're going to need a loan for seconds. This isn't Chipotle level. This is like, I need to mortgage my house to eat level. And while we're on food, some folks really went all out. Ever spent $1,000 on dinner at a festival? Yeah, at Coachella you can. I found the most expensive dinner spot. No walk-ins, reservations only. $350 per person, and that's before the 22% gratuity. And if you're late, you get a bento box to go, but you can't even eat it there. So yeah, you're paying for the experience. Michelin star dinner with a side of celebrity sightings? Sure. Just don't be surprised if you feel like you've been pickpocketed by the end of it. Then there's the food reality. Imagine spending $200 for a meal that was nothing more than air-conditioned pizza. I went to the Prince Street Pizza Collab, where each slice was $15. I'm talking seafood boil pizza with shrimp and sausage, dripping in smoky, peppery sauce. Was it worth it? Kind of. But when you spend that much on food, you start questioning your life choices. Oh, and let's not forget the $32 hot chicken sandwich. Was it good? Yeah, but at that price, it better have been seasoned by the gods. Coachella's food is a trap, but it's not even the worst part. You're stuck in a desert, paying top dollar for food that's honestly not that good, surrounded by chaos, dehydration, and the kind of heat that turns your car into an oven. If Coachella's a flex, then it's the ultimate flex to endure all of it. So, let's ask ourselves, is it really worth the price, or are we just paying for the bragging rights to say we survived it? Imagine paying $54 for 2 Japanese sandos. Delicious, yes, but $54. Meanwhile, you're questioning if this is the best meal of your life or a straight-up robbery. The sad truth? It's Coachella, where food prices are more scandalous than a Netflix docuseries. But it doesn't end there. I tried these Sichuan noodles, $30 a pop, bursting with flavor but lukewarm at best. So here's the deal. You pay $30 for food that should be piping hot, only for it to feel like they forgot about it while you were in line for your shower, which, spoiler alert, is a nightmare. And don't get me started on the pre-made mortadella sandwich with pistachio cream. $12. It was fine, but it felt like a slap in the face after those other prices. Now, Coachella is the event. I looked up prices for Lady Gaga's tour, $4,000 for a single night. What's that? You can't afford it? Don't worry, Coachella will make you feel better. That's because you're paying thousands just to stand in the desert, wait in lines for overpriced food, and experience the luxury of 1 million people all desperately trying to keep cool. But hey, at least there's air conditioning inside the tents, when you're lucky. What makes Coachella really feel like a social media fever dream is the fact that influencers are out here treating it like a work trip. They're not just showing up to enjoy the music. Oh no, they're posting Instagram stories, flaunting the sponsored outfits they were gifted by Revolve, posing in the VIP section, and snapping selfies on a golf cart. Meanwhile, you're stuck in 6 hours of traffic, starving, and praying you don't faint from the heat. If you've ever been stuck in a long line at the airport, you know the frustration. Now imagine that, but you can't even escape. There's no nice terminal to chill in, no air-conditioned lounge, just heat, dust, and the constant hum of overpriced nonsense. The real kicker? You can't even escape for a decent shower. You've seen the viral videos of that experience. People lining up for the privilege of stepping into a crowded, shared space, sweaty from standing in line for 30 minutes. It's like a public gym locker room on steroids, except way grosser. And that's the thing about Coachella. It's a 3 to 4 day ordeal. It's not a quick getaway, it's an endurance test, one that leaves you questioning if it's even worth it. But let's face it, the influencers make it look glamorous because they have the perks. Golf carts, glam squads, private jets. While you're just trying to survive the weekend without having your car catch on fire or running into a snake in the middle of the night. So, is it worth it? Maybe, but only if you're not a regular person like us. If you're an influencer, it's practically a job. For the rest of us, it's a chaotic test of patience and endurance. But at least you can say you survived the desert right before you collapse from heat stroke and starvation. Picture this, a 2-hour drive, and instead of highway snacks, you're greeted with bagels, gin, juice, and caviar. Welcome to the influencer dream. But hold up, this isn't just any road trip. This is the kind of experience that makes you question your whole existence. As soon as we land, it's like something out of a movie. The cars pull up, all shiny and ready to whisk us away to the compound. A place so ridiculously fab, it feels like it should come with a "you're not worthy" disclaimer. And then, bam, we're back in paradise. No, seriously, we're back in the lap of luxury. The girls are making quesadillas, the drinks are flowing, and everyone's living their best life, acting like this is what life is really about. But don't get comfortable. The real fun kicks off at the welcome dinner, and that's where the magic happens. Old faces, new faces, all crammed into one room. And let's be real, it's just a big reunion of people who know how to live. But here's the kicker. When you're at the bar, you're not getting a shot. No, this is a gallon of tequila in a glass, and your face says it all. That oof is the understatement of the year. After that, you need something to balance the scales. Enter John and Vinny's pasta, a dish so good it's borderline life-changing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They're not roughing it in the heat, melting under tarps, or sprinting to porta potties after a $30 burrito. No, they're not pulling 8-hour shifts either. They're working, but it's more like networking while lounging poolside, living a life that can only be described as a content farm masquerading as a party. Meanwhile, the average person, the normie, is out there spending rent money to sleep in their car, fighting for shade, and praying the next shower isn't a cruel joke. The difference? It's like watching the Hunger Games, the influencer capital versus the District 12 of general admission. The gap is staggering. One side is VIP, the other, well, you're just hoping to survive without a heat stroke, and that's when it hits you. I'm not going to Coachella until I'm rich. Forget just showing up. I need to be there like Remy and Alicia, flying in on a private jet, decked out head to toe in sponsored gear, and golf carted around like I'm royalty. Because I'm not about to spend thousands of dollars to get heat stroke. Florida's got me covered there. Until that day comes, I'll be chilling in my air-conditioned home, sipping ice-cold water from my Stanley, and watching the chaos unfold safely from my couch. Because let's be honest, some experiences are better watched from a distance, in comfort, and without the gallons of tequila.